a leper that most people in this community would have known to be a leper, who would have been wearing tattered clothes, who would have had this disease all over him. Luke actually tells us in Luke's account that the leprosy was all over him. It was a really, really bad case. And this bacterial leprosy, what it does is it deadens and destroys the nerves. And so what happens is lepers start to injure themselves and they can't even feel it. And those injuries, so it's on the tip of their fingers or their ears or their nose or their feet or whatever the extremities are, they start to injure themselves and it starts to get infected and they do not even know about it. And what happens is fingers start to kind of decay, and so often the mucous membranes in the nose, there'll be issues there, and the nose will start to kind of cave in, and there's just horrific things. So if there's a leper living around you, you will know, and if you get kind of close to him, he will yell, "Unclean, unclean." So these priests, they would have known the lepers around them. So imagine their perspective, the priest's perspective, if they have a leper come to them and say, "Hey, I'm not a leper anymore. I want you to declare me clean so that I can go back to the life that God has for me." It would have been a testimony. It would have been a story. They would have said, "Who healed you?" This man named Jesus, who is walking around, casting out demons, healing people of their diseases. And he says that he is the Son of God, which they'll find out later. The leper, his curse, transformed into a testimony. And so where does this leave him? In verse 45, we see that Jesus shows his love in his substitution. In verse 45, here's what Mark tells us. But he, meaning the leper, he went out and began to talk freely about it, and to spread the news so that Jesus could no longer openly enter a town, but was out in desolate places. And people were coming to him from every quarter. So where was the leper before this? The leper was isolated. He was in desolate places. He could not be around his family or friends. He could not worship. But where is he now? He's been made clean. He's been healed. He can go back to his family. He can go back to the temple. He can go back to his normal everyday life. And where is Jesus? Jesus is in desolate places. Jesus is isolated. Now, this is exactly where Jesus wants to be. He wants to be in desolate places, to spend time alone with the Father. But what we see in this passage, that Jesus has basically switched places with the leper. He has switched places with the leper, and I believe that this is just foreshadowing of what is going to happen later on in the ministry of Jesus, as Jesus is going to go to the cross. And where was the cross? Outside the camp, in a desolate place. He's going to hang on the cross, isolated, bruised, and beaten, to die in our place as our substitute. He's going to switch places with us.